The sun was just beginning to peek over the rolling green hills of Willow Creek Farm, casting a warm golden glow across the dew-kissed fields. It was the kind of morning that feels full of promise. The air is crisp clean, the world seems to wake up with a gentle sigh. This was the world of a young boy named Leo, a 6-year-old with a heart as wide as the open sky eyes that held a universe of curiosity. Leo didn't just live on the farm, he was part of its rhythm, a vital piece of the sprawling puzzle of nature. A rumbling echoed down the gravel driveway. Leo scrambled to the porch. A large truck with a long trailer rolled toward the barn. Leo's heart beat faster. He saw the ramp lower with a heavy clank. A hush fell over the barnyard. Slowly, cautiously, a magnificent creature emerged into the morning light. It was a palomino. In that moment, Leo knew his life was about to change forever. Leo's father knelt beside him, placing a comforting hand on his small shoulder. "Go on, son," he whispered, his voice full of warmth. "Go say hello. His name is Spirit." The name seemed to hang in the air, perfectly fitting the majestic animal that stood before them. Leo took a tentative step forward, his small boots crunching softly on the gravel. The horse, Spirit, turned his magnificent head, his ears swiveling to catch the tiny sound. His large dark eyes, soft and curious, fixed on the small boy approaching him. There was no fear in those eyes, only a calm and gentle watchfulness, as if he were trying to understand this tiny human who was now part of his world. With his heart thumping like a drum against his ribs, Leo slowly raised his hand, his palm open and flat, just as his father had taught him. Spirit watched him for a long moment, his nostrils flaring slightly as he took in the boy's scent. Then, with a grace that seemed impossible for such a large animal, he lowered his head. He gently nudged his soft, velvety muzzle into Leo's outstretched palm, his warm breath tickling the boy's skin. A jolt of pure joy, warm and bright, shot through Leo. It was a connection, a silent agreement, a first hello that said more than words ever could. A wide smile spread across Leo's face, and he let out a giggle of pure delight. Carefully he brought his other hand up and rested it on Spirit's powerful neck, his fingers sinking into the thick golden coat. Spirit didn't flinch or pull away. Instead, he leaned into the touch, letting out a low, soft nicker that rumbled deep in his chest. In that single, beautiful moment, the vast size difference between the boy and the horse melted away, leaving only two kindred souls meeting for the very first time. From that day forward, the empty paddock was no longer empty. It was Spirit's home, and it became Leo's favorite place on the entire farm. The bond between Leo and Spirit grew with each passing sunrise, nurtured not by words but by a deeper, more intuitive form of communication. Leo learned that friendship wasn't always about talking. Sometimes it was about listening with your whole heart. He started to understand Spirit's silent language, the flick of an ear, the swish of a tail, the soft nicker that greeted him every morning. When Spirit's ears were pricked forward and alert, Leo knew something had caught his attention, perhaps a deer at the edge of the woods or the distant sound of the mail truck. It was like learning a secret code that only the two of them shared, a special dialect of trust and understanding. Every afternoon, after his chores were done, Leo would lead Spirit from the paddock to the grooming station near the barn. This was their special time. Leo would stand on a small wooden stool, his small hands carefully working a soft brush through Spirit's magnificent golden coat. He would talk to the horse in a low, gentle murmur, telling him all about his day. Spirit would stand perfectly still, his head lowered, listening to the boy's soft voice as it mingled with the rustling of the leaves. If quiet presence was the grammar of their friendship, then treats were its most delightful vocabulary. Leo quickly learned that the path to Spirit's heart could often be paved with the crisp crunch of a fresh carrot or the sweet juice of a red apple. These weren't just snacks, they were tokens of affection, small offerings that said, "I was thinking of you." Each morning before heading out to the paddock, Leo would make a special trip to the kitchen. He'd carefully select the plumpest carrot from the bin, or the shiniest apple from the fruit bowl, his small hands polishing it on his shirt until it gleamed. This simple act became a cherished part of his morning routine, a small mission of love. The moment Spirit saw Leo approaching with the familiar shape of an apple in his hand or a carrot in his hand, a little dance of anticipation would begin. The horse's ears would prick forward with intense focus. A soft, eager nicker would escape his lips. He would bob his head up and down, his big dark eyes sparkling with excitement. Leo would laugh, his heart swelling with joy at his friend's enthusiastic greeting. He would hold the treat out on his flat palm. Spirit would ever so gently nibble it from his hand, his soft lips tickling Leo's skin. The sound of the loud, satisfying crunch that followed was music to Leo's ears, a happy sound that echoed in the quiet morning air. These moments of sharing treats were also moments of profound trust. For a creature as large and powerful as Spirit to take food so gently from the small hand of a child was a testament to the incredible bond they shared. Leo never felt a moment of fear. He knew with absolute certainty that Spirit would always be careful with him. The rhythm of life at Willow Creek Farm was marked by daily rituals, and the care of Spirit quickly became the most important part of Leo's day. The day began at dawn, with the sound of the rooster crowing. Leo would pull on his boots and head to the barn. He would measure out the perfect portion of oats for Spirit's breakfast. The smell of the sweet grain, the scrape of the scoop against the bottom of the bin, the soft thud of the oats hitting the feed bucket. Spirit would greet him with a low, rumbling whinny. After breakfast came the mucking out of the stall. Spirit watched nearby, curious and calm. Leo chatted with Spirit, telling him about his dreams from the night before and his plans for the day. This quiet barn time was deeply comforting, teaching Leo responsibility, and that love can be humble service. The most important ritual was filling the water trough. Leo dragged the heavy hose across the paddock on hot afternoons. Cool, fresh water splashed into the trough. Spirit ambled over and dipped his muzzle for a long drink. Leo ran his hand along Spirit's neck as he drank, feeling the powerful muscles and the warmth of his friend's body. He pressed his forehead gently against Spirit's cheek, whispering, "Good night, Spirit, I'll see you in the morning." While the farm was their home, the world beyond the paddock fences beckoned with the promise of adventure. Once Leo was old enough and had proven his gentle command, his father would lift him onto Spirit's broad, golden back. Tucked securely in a small saddle, with his father walking alongside holding the lead rope, Leo and Spirit would venture out to explore. Their favorite destination was the Whispering Woods, a sprawling forest that bordered the farm's northern edge. The moment they entered the woods, the world changed. The bright sun was filtered through a canopy of green leaves, and the air grew cool and smelled of damp earth and pine needles. Their journeys were slow and meandering, taken at Spirit's steady, unhurried pace. This wasn't about speed, it was about discovery. Leo, perched high on Spirit's back, had a perfect view of the forest world. He would point out a squirrel chattering on a branch, a patch of colorful wildflowers hidden amongst the ferns, or the iridescent flash of a dragonfly darting over a bubbling stream. Spirit, with his keen senses, would often stop and prick his ears, alerting Leo to the presence of a deer hidden in the undergrowth or the distant call of a hawk circling high above. Together they were the perfect team of explorers, one with sharp eyes and the other with sharp ears. One sunny afternoon they ventured deeper into the woods than ever before and discovered a hidden clearing. Life, even on a beautiful farm, is not always filled with sunshine and adventure. Scraped knees, moments of disappointment, and the quiet sadness that can sometimes settle over a young heart. It was during these times that the true depth of the bond between Leo and Spirit was revealed. The golden horse was more than a friend for exploration. He was a steadfast source of comfort, a silent confidant who offered solace without ever needing to understand the reason for the tears. When Leo was feeling sad or overwhelmed, he wouldn't go to his room, he would go to the paddock. One afternoon, a group of older children had unintentionally excluded Leo from their game, leaving him feeling small and lonely. With tears welling in his eyes, he trudged to Spirit's fence. The horse, who had been grazing peacefully, lifted his head at the boy's approach. He seemed to sense the change in Leo's posture, and the quiet sadness that surrounded him. Spirit walked slowly to the fence line and lowered his head, resting it near Leo's shoulder. He didn't do anything else, he just stood there, finding comfort and courage in each other's quiet company until the first drops of rain began to fall. As the years passed, Leo grew taller, his understanding of the world broadened, but the core of his friendship with Spirit remained unchanged. It deepened, like the roots of the old oak tree on the farm, growing stronger and more intertwined with each passing season. Their adventures became more daring as Leo learned to ride with confidence, exploring farther into the woods and galloping across the open fields. Yet their favorite moments were often the quietest ones, especially those at the end of the day, when the sun began its slow descent, painting the sky in brilliant hues of orange, pink, and purple. This time of day became their own special ceremony, a time for reflection and quiet companionship. After the evening chores were done, Leo would often lead Spirit to the top of a small hill that overlooked the entire farm. They would stand there together, side by side, and watch the day come to a close. Leo would lean against Spirit's warm side, his hand resting on the horse's golden coat, and they would watch in shared silence as the colors of the sunset washed over the landscape they both called home. It was a moment of perfect peace, a shared appreciation for the simple beauty of their world. In these quiet twilight moments, an unspoken promise seemed to pass between them. It was a promise of loyalty, of enduring friendship, and of mutual care that would last a lifetime. Leo knew that no matter what challenges he might face as he grew older, Spirit would be a constant in his life. The horse, in turn, seemed to understand that this boy was his person, his dedicated caretaker, and his most trusted friend. Their bond had transcended that of a boy and his pet. It had become a partnership, a family of two, built on years of shared experiences, mutual respect, and unconditional love. The setting sun was a daily reminder of the passage of time, but for Leo and Spirit, it was also a symbol of continuity. Just as the sun would rise again the next morning, so too would their friendship continue, day after day. It was a powerful, unspoken pact made on a hilltop, witnessed only by the fading light. Knowing they would face it together, a boy and his horse against the backdrop of a never-ending sky,